Before we get on with the video, I'd just like to say thank you to everyone who subscribed and watched our videos. It really has meant a lot to us, and we reached over 100 subscribers. We're almost at 150 as well now, and it really means a lot to us for this constant support. Thank you. Now let's get on with the video. Hey guys, good day to everyone who watches this video. I'm doing something a bit different, and by a bit different I mean a lot different than what I usually do. And I don't expect this video to get a lot of traction, which I don't mind at all. I just felt like talking about this stuff. Does anyone else feel out of place in our generation? I hope I'm not the only one who feels this way, but maybe I am. Now, this video isn't meant to be oh, I have depression, or wow, everyone here sucks except me, and I'm one of a kind. That's not what this is supposed to be, or at least that's not what I'm trying to make here. It's more along the lines of why I believe that the people living in our modern generation now are some of the weirdest we've ever seen in our planet's history. This video will be heavily biased towards my personal beliefs, and I won't deny that at all. In this video, I'll be going over several examples on what exactly I'm trying to say here. And if you think that what I'm saying is stupid, then that's okay. We all have different beliefs, and I won't mind that at all. I would actually prefer if people disagree with me because it'd give me more insight into their beliefs, and that's always a good thing for me. I like interacting with others. But before I go into this, I'd like to just describe a sort of bit of background about who I am and why I have these beliefs. To start, I'm an early generation Z member, a Zoomer to be specific. I'm 19 years old. I was born and raised in California to a Mexican American family because of course I was. And I'm deeply religious with my Catholic beliefs. And with that out of the way, let's get on with the actual video now. A bit earlier, I described what exactly I meant by out of place. And to reiterate, I meant it as in I see people my age, younger than me, or older than me do stuff that a lot of them see as normal now. But to me, it just feels like, it feels weird, if that makes any sense. And I don't know if that's because I'm the weird one or they're the weird one and it's being normalized now with all this stuff, which if it is being normalized, then I'm a bit concerned. And it's gonna make me sound like a massive buzzkill, and I understand. And if you want to call me a buzzkill, then I understand perfectly. This is just my personal opinion, and I think the best place to show exactly what I'm talking about is really just any social media. I have a lot of gripes with these apps. I used to be a consistent Twitter user, or X, whatever you want to call it now. As in every single day, I'd be on it for 3 hours minimum. And I'd see nothing but people posting some of the most insane things ever and being as weird as possible. It was just filled with people blatantly lying or just desperate for any form of clout to give themselves what I consider a dopamine boost. Nowadays, I use it at most once a week, and my happiness has been higher than before. Which I can't lie, it makes me sound like a big weirdo myself because how could I let such a stupid app let me get annoyed? But it did, and I stopped using it so much, and I felt better. If I had to say what my biggest gripe specifically was with these apps and sites, it would have to be the clout chasers. These people are some of the weirdest human beings in our modern civilization. They just come off as so desperate for clout that they'll share anything really online just for clout. They'll post private information, make fun of people for next to no reason to follow their norm or whatever on these sites. They'll even contradict their own opinions and follow whatever is trendy just because they don't want to come off as a bad person. And this just makes them come off as even worse people, at least to me, because you're just being a hypocrite. At least that's what I think you're being by doing this. I swear, I've seen so many accounts I followed on that app, on Twitter, that one day they'd be liking and retweeting this specific post, and a bunch of people would be coming and disagreeing with that post, get like a ton of likes, and then this same person would be starting to agree with them. Even though it's not because they genuinely agreed with the opposite opinion. It's just because it was trendy to do so, and it gives them more likes and makes them come off as a better person. It's just weird. I won't be a buzzkill and say not to do it. If you want to do this, then go ahead. I can't stop you. I just don't agree with it. I don't think it's a good thing to do. I've just never understood the appeal to post stuff like private phone messages, for example, with family and friends onto Twitter or X or Instagram or whatever, and then post a caption of, "Y'all, my uncle is something else," with the crying and then skull emoji. It always has to start with a y'all, or however you say it. I think I'm saying it right. And that's only a light example of what I'm trying to point out. My uncle is something else. I've seen people say so much worse stuff, like call their uncle flat out racist, call their grandmother sexist. Yeah, I've seen that. That's weird as hell. And even people calling their own parents bigots, which I'm convinced 90% of people using that word on that app didn't even know that word existed until like 2020. And then these posts can get thousands of likes to a bunch of internet strangers who do the exact same thing. It's private information. I really don't get why people do it. To me, it's just the Gen Z version, and to an extent, younger millennial version of millennials and some boomers sharing their stuff they do in bed with their partner. You guys know exactly what I mean by that. Genuinely, do people really not find it weird? That's something that should only be known by people involved and those close, not just random people on the internet or even friends of yours. These sites are not like an anonymous website like 4chan, in which they're anonymous. You will never know who this person is. So, I don't see why people will put themselves out there besides for clout. This next thing is more of just a personal pet peeve to me, but I just want to include it in the video because it's my video. So, I've never been a big slang user. I use slang occasionally, but I attempt to try to improve my vocabulary by speaking more traditional. You could probably tell where I'm going with this now, and you'll probably think I'm way too sensitive, which I wouldn't blame you for. I feel like, honestly, I'm acting like a boomer for this opinion as well. This whole entire video kind of comes off as me just acting like a boomer, to be honest. I get that they use their slang too. My point, however, is that I'm starting to get concerned with how often slang is being used now compared to ever before. I'm starting to come to this point where I unironically think that slang will actually become a major part of the English language, which can be either seen as a good or bad thing. I personally am a bit more on the negative side of it, which, like I said, call me a buzzkill. I wouldn't blame you if you did. I hear people my age or younger or even over 40 years old say, bro's cooked, or yo, this is crazy. You know, not crazy, crazy. You guys know exactly what I mean now. Or crazy. About something that feels completely normal or anything really, and I feel odd. Because sometimes I get confused as in, are they trying to be funny? Or is this how they actually speak in real life? I have a bunch of cousins. I know, right? Shocking. Mexican family. So, you already know how many cousins I have. All living in a single house. Living in a single house. Okay, let's just stop. So, I have a bunch of cousins, and yeah, I know. Mexican has a bunch of cousins. I'm so shocked. I bet you guys are too. Alright, but seriously. And of the ones who are all younger than me, I even have one who's only like 6 years old, and he speaks like the definition of an edgy middle schooler. You know those Wojak memes of Zoomers speaking like Riz, Ohio, Steak, Kai? It's meant to, I guess, point fun at them for speaking that way. And you would think it's over-exaggerated, but it's not. It's not over-exaggerated. He's 6 years old and he speaks exactly like that. He's in first grade and he speaks like that, and I'm confident he's not the only one speaking like that in that darn class. And it's not just him, even the older ones. The oldest one is about 16, and even she speaks like that. And I don't even know what to think about that. I think the modern term is brain damage. I think the modern term is brain rot. To clarify, this one is more just a me thing. I can't lie either. It's gotten to a point where at my job, older fellows around their mid-30s and above will almost always comment on how I speak. And how do you expect there's something different because their kids or nephews all around my age all speak heavy slang? I don't know if I should feel good or bad about this because I could tell they're trying to compliment me, even if there's nothing wrong with the slang. But I don't think I should be being complimented for speaking what I guess is traditional English. This specific section is more just me coping. It's a massive cope. I can't even lie to you guys. It's not that serious, or at least I wouldn't say it's that serious. To an extent, I feel like there are going to be consequences later down the line, but for now, I think it's more just a cope of mine. Now, this part will definitely be my most controversial part, because I have some very passionate opinions about this, and it's a very sensitive subject to a lot of people. Easily the weirdest thing I've seen people among this generation do is when they just shit all over their grandparents for some of the most brain-dead, unreal reasons I've ever heard. To me, disrespecting your grandparents who have cared and loved you since you were a baby because they have a different viewpoint or a different opinion on something than you is the weirdest thing imaginable to me. I've seen so many posts online or talked to so many people in real life about how much they hate their grandmother or grandfather or both. And it's depressing that I think this specific way, but I tend to hope that it's for a actual good reason. Maybe their grandparents, they were physically abusive, they were mentally abusive, but it's never that. It's never because of that. It's always because they have a different opinion about something they're passionate about. Whether it be how they support a different political opponent, or how they have a different opinion than you on religion, or even their opinion on homosexuals. I can understand being annoyed at it. My grandma has opinions on stuff that I don't agree with, but that doesn't mean I'm going to go online and post about or talk to my friends and tell them that, oh, my grandma is Hitler. Stuff like that. It's weird. It's weird. It's so weird. I have homosexual friends who act like what I call normal people, and I treat them just like all my other friends because they're not like those internet obsessed weirdos online on Twitter, X, or Instagram who make it their entire personality that they just happen to be a homosexual. And I've seen people make fun of people who say that they make it their entire personality, even when it's objectively true. They're just trying to lie to themselves to make it feel better. But it's objectively true that these people online do that. It's so weird. It's the same weirdness as making your entire personality be that you're straight. That's just inherently weird, making your entire personality be around a single thing. Some of these posts of these online weirdos, I've shown to these friends, and all of them, of course, agreed that that's just weird, the way they're acting. Some of them even have grandparents who are anti-homosexual and don't support their choice, yet they still love each other unconditionally because at the end of the day, they're family. That's what matters more. I'm so bothered when I hear people treat their grandparents that way because they were raised in a different era that had radically different beliefs than before. If you were raised in that era too, there's a next to 99% chance that you'd have the same beliefs as them. And if you're saying that you wouldn't, then you're just denying and you're lying to yourself because you have to understand just how different life was in the 1900s compared to now in the 2000s. If I could summarize my main point, there just seems to be no sympathy in our era anymore. Or more so that the lack of sympathy in our world that has always been here has been immensely amplified in our modern day society. Mostly by the internet and the way how a lot of parents really did not raise their kids the same way as parents have been doing for so long now. Maybe the video deserves a retitling to include the word sympathy. Once again, as I just said, I'm not trying to say that our generation is the only one that didn't have sympathy. Every generation has had lots of people who've had no sympathy and people who have had sympathy. But my point is that I feel as if it's amplified. And by sympathy, I mean as an actual real care. Not that shit that people try to push online. You know, those old, those 30-year-old plus people that keep saying, be kind to people. But the very moment someone disagrees with them, suddenly they have to be doxxed, they have to be banned, they have to have their life ruined because they have a slightly different opinion. And I mean as in real sympathy. Which, it feels like it's heavily lacking and so much more rare than it used to be. It's become so much more popular nowadays to act a very specific way just to appeal to a bunch of people randomly on the internet for their imaginary like points because they like seeing a number go up for whatever reason. I don't understand the appeal of posting a messed up message that's about your family to a bunch of internet strangers and watching as your number goes up and you make $0 off it. Because if they're getting paid to do this, then I can understand you gotta do what you have to do, but you're not getting paid to do this, so why are you doing it? Are you trying to find a way to get paid for this? Because it doesn't seem to be working. I know you guys have been on here for 5 years trying this, and I know you've all made $0 off this stuff. Or more so, 99.9% of you have made absolutely not a single penny off this. I don't get it. I don't like how people just love to tell internet strangers, people they'll never meet in real life, or at least they'll never meet 99.999 whatever percent of the people they talk to online, and share stuff about people that are actually important in their lives. I just don't get it. I felt good making this video, honestly. Maybe I'll make more anytime I feel like it. It's different than what I usually make, and it's a nice way to just say what I want to say. Thanks everyone for watching, and have a great day.